Hi, thanks so much for joining me today. Along with myself, we've got Bo and Boomer, who are our dogs. It's not a very nice day outside, so we decided to do this inside for Storyteller. So thanks for joining us. Today's verse comes from the book of Luke, and it's one of my favorite verses, which says, "What is impossible with man is possible with God." And that's Luke 18:27. Good news these days can be hard to come by, but that's just what the soul needs at times like these. Good news, the stuff that gives us hope, miracles. One of my favorite miracles in the Bible occurs the same time of year as now, the Passover. And if you've ever attended Sunday school or perhaps a church service or two, you've probably heard it also. The 2 fish and 5 loaves that Jesus used to feed thousands? Yes. That's just the type of miracle we need right now to help us believe. The fact that this miracle is the only one mentioned in all 4 gospel accounts, besides the resurrection, should get our attention. What's also incredible is the timing of this miracle in comparison to our current calendar and the similarity to present world conditions. Passover has always been one of the biggest festivals on the Jewish calendar. It's a yearly celebration of the Israelites' freedom from slavery and captivity in Egypt. The Hebrew people look back during Passover to remember all the Lord has done for them and also to look forward for deliverance. The miracle takes place during this festival. Large crowds of people were following Jesus after seeing him heal the sick. They were ordinary people who had heard of his extraordinary power and were curious of his ability to help them also. But here they were, and here we are, in the midst of an impossible situation. The scripture says the crowd was 5,000 men, but scholars note that women and children were present as well, making the total number of people closer to 15,000 or more. 15,000 people who were hungry. No restaurants, no fast food, not even a Circle K in sight to grab a snack. A hopeless situation that human logic could not solve. Sounds familiar, right? The text teaches us that Jesus was with his disciples for this miracle. We are told that the crowd is hungry and Jesus and the disciples are apart from the people together on a mountainside. Jesus asked the disciples if they have a human solution in mind for the impossible circumstance they're facing. Of course, thousands of years later, we have the benefit of knowing that there was none. Jesus was testing them to strengthen their faith. The disciples limited themselves in the same way we limit ourselves. They forgot that what's impossible with man is possible with God. The scripture goes on to tell us about a young boy who was there that day as well. We are told he had 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. The text doesn't spell it out, but we can guess that the disciples had provisions as well. A few figs, maybe a fish, a piece of produce or 2. No one knows for sure, but we can assume the adults had resources with them that day as well. Even though the disciples had something they could have offered, they remained silent and they didn't give anything at all. Their reasoning convinced them that what they had wasn't enough and it couldn't make a difference. The little boy gave what he had, and it made all the difference in the world. Jesus took his offering, giving thanks to the Father, then multiplied the food for enough to feed the mob, with leftovers to spare. As we too find ourselves in an impossible situation, it is good to look back and remember God's miracles. Don't limit God by assuming you know what's possible. He likes to perform miracles, always has, still does. And he often performs these miracles through ordinary people like you and I. Never think you are too old, too young, or too whatever to make an impact for Christ. He took the small offering of a young child to accomplish one of the most astounding miracles of all time. We can't let our estimate of what can or cannot be done keep us from offering what we've been given. Our world is in desperate need for a miracle. Who knows? Maybe you have the peace he's waiting for. Give what you have and trust him to do the rest. Thank you so much for joining me today. You can get more content at at RAYNAWright.com, the Eastgate tab, or the Storyteller tab. Thanks so much and God bless.